Remember all those attacks from last year? The Colonial Pipeline hack, the JBS meat supplier hack, the SolarWinds hack that nearly took down our entire government. These are the battles we need to care about. But how did Joe Biden react to those cyber attacks?
Certain critical infrastructure should be off limits to attack, period, by cyber or any other means. I gave them a list. If I'm not mistaken, I don't have it in front of me, 16 specific entities. 16.
He gave them a list. I hope Vlad Putin checks the list twice before Christmas. Yeah, so you're not letting Putin hack our water or our dams or our financial services, but you're perfectly okay with him hacking our cultural centers, our newsrooms, our small businesses. Biden didn't do anything. Russia almost got all of our Pentagon's most confidential information, and Biden didn't do a darn thing. But those warmongers in the mainstream media want Biden to go to war, not just for what they did, but for what they're doing to the Ukraine. Look at this map. Russia has troops surrounding Ukraine. Vladimir Putin and his Russian hordes gather, get this, 175,000 troops at the Ukraine border and another 100,000 troops sitting in reserves ready to invade. They even have the troops in a nearby country, Belarus. Now, clearly, Putin wants to rebuild the Soviet Union. But you know what? Does anyone remember the 80s? Because I've seen this play out before. That was a scene from the ABC movie The Day After. We had a really strong leader in Ronald Reagan, a bold warrior. He saw that movie and said it motivated him to sign a strategic arms deal with Russia to avoid total war and destruction. But Reagan was not beyond pointing a finger at and warning the Russians, making sure they knew who was boss. Like when just before a radio speech he gave, he alarmed the world with this little joke.
My fellow Americans, I'm pleased to tell you today that I've signed legislation that will outlaw Russia forever. We begin bombing in 5 minutes.
Begin bombing in 5 minutes. It was a joke, but it scared the bejesus out of the world and really put Russia on their back heels. Reagan even met face-to-face with Soviet Premier Mikhail Gorbachev in Iceland. And even though there was a lot of pressure to reach another agreement, Reagan walked away from the table because the talks weren't going our way. Now that is a strong will, folks. Presidents have been clear about their foreign policy. Reagan spoke of peace through strength. George Bush favored nation building. Trump kept other nations on their heels because he kept them guessing. He wasn't sure what he was going to do. Obama, like his predecessors, didn't think we should go to war with Russia. But he didn't take them very seriously either. Remember this?
A few months ago, when you were asked what's the biggest geopolitical threat facing America, you said Russia. Not Al-Qaeda, you said Russia. In the 1980s are now calling to ask for their foreign policy back because, you know, the Cold War has been over for 20 years.
Well, has it? Has it? Feels like it's still going on, Mr. Obama. But here's the thing. Under Obama, Putin took Crimea from Ukraine, and Russia repeatedly tried to hack us and did hack us. Joe Biden adopted Obama's attitude towards Russia and doesn't really care what they do, and that's why and now they have 175,000 Russian troops amassed on the border with Ukraine. Putin is power hungry and loves to make land grabs. Some think he has a master plan to restore the boundaries of the old Soviet Union. And today, our fearless leader, Joe Biden, went face-to-face with this evil genius, sort of. They met by video conference today. So how did it go? Couldn't hook up. Couldn't even get it going. So he waves. Looked like Putin was cringing as he watched his American counterpart try to turn his microphone on, then give a feeble little wave with a sheepish smile. Hi, Mr. Putin, sir. Hey, can you all do me a favor? See that picture right there? Do me a quick favor. Look at that picture of Joe Biden waving. Find it online, screenshot it, caption it, and send it to me. You know how to find me. Oh, while Biden was in the White House, guess where Uncle Vlad was? Well, he was at his residence on the Black Sea in Sochi, the site of the Olympics a few years ago. And if he looks out his window, he can practically see Ukraine. What's he doing down there anyway, folks? 400 miles away. Maybe he just wants to watch the inevitable war from his own balcony. Biden, as best he could, warned Putin of strong economic sanctions against Russia if Putin decides to roll his tanks into Ukraine. How scared do you think a former KGB agent Putin is of Biden? Well, for Putin's part, he's complained that Ukraine poses a threat to Russia because of its close relationship with the United States and Europe. But here's what may be an unpopular opinion. So change my mind if you really want to. I don't really care if Putin takes Ukraine or if China grabs Taiwan. I won't lose a wink of sleep. I'll be more fearful and anxious if a doddering Biden gets us into a hot war with either Russia or China or, God forbid, both. Do you remember what Nixon did? He reached out to China, and for a long, long time, we were able to keep Russia and China apart. No longer, folks. The two evil empires are holding military maneuvers together, and they're closer than ever, and they're drawing other countries into them, like India and half of Africa. In fact, there's a report out today that says China is building a Navy base in a small African country on the Atlantic coast. Atlantic coast. I just can't help but think what would happen, what would Donald Trump do? Biden lost his connection with Putin today, and he's quickly losing his connection with the rest of the world. I'm worried that Biden won't have the same sense as previous presidents. I'm worried that the liberal media will pressure Biden into going to war for Ukraine, to go to war for Taiwan against China. But my question is why? Why would we go to war? What benefit will we get out of going to war with Russia over Ukraine? Well, I tried to find out this morning by going to the Ukrainian embassy right here in New York City. Hello, I'm Eric Bolling with Newsmax. I was wondering if I could speak with either the ambassador or a spokesperson for the ambassador.
What's your purpose of visit?
I just like to talk about the situation in Russia and Ukraine.
You have to send us an email before and we can schedule a meeting.
Do you have any opinion on what's going on with Russia yourself?
Sorry, I can't give you any comment. Just send us an email.
Okay. Is the ambassador or foreign minister in town?
Sorry, but such meetings you have to schedule an appointment.
Got it. All right. Thank you. Merry Christmas. Well, they didn't want to give us an answer. They told us we had to email them. We did. We hope to hear from them very soon, and we'll let you know what we find out.
You just watched Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news channel, now in more than 70 million homes. You can get Newsmax TV on your cable system or check your cable guide. And if your system doesn't carry Newsmax, call them, tell them you want Newsmax TV, because we're real news for real people.